Welcome to Kutch time. Today is October 29th, 2025, and the Detroit Pistons just beat the Orlando Magic 135 to 116. The Pistons tonight started off sluggish. In the first quarter, they started out 1 for 10 and went down 10 points early on to the Magic. However, halfway through the second quarter, the Pistons woke up finally thanks to Cade Cunningham. The Pistons beat the Magic the second through the fourth quarter by 8 points each quarter, and that's mostly because Cade Cunningham has his best game of the night. He had a 30-point double double. He was everywhere tonight, defensively, offensively. This is the game we needed from Cade after starting off so poorly. There's a lot of good tonight. Going to go get deep into this Cade game. Easily his best game. He had struggled basically every part of every game. He had a really bad game against the Cavs. Only had about 13 points. A lot of the first three games, he struggled in the first half and only really stepping up in the fourth quarter. But today, he was good. Second quarter, beyond. First quarter, still struggled a little bit. He has 30 points. He has 10 assists. One thing that's going to be lost to time, 6 stocks. He had 3 steals, 3 blocks. That's a defensive intensity that people forget about Cade. Cade really has stepped up as a defender. He's really evolved as a defender. He can get the stats. He can get the stops that some superstars give up on. They don't try on the defensive end. Cade's not one of those guys. Pistons are always built on this defensive intensity, and Cade is not one to to falter on that. He really proves that. He definitely proved it tonight. He had he had a huge block in Jalen Suggs, who we'll get into a little bit later. He had a huge block in Jalen Suggs. He flexes on him after he gets down his court. He almost banks in a three, and it just really shows that getting the defensive energy going can really help him bring that offensive energy going like it is tonight. He was 50% from the field. He was a team best at plus minus a plus 27, and it's just because he was everywhere on the court. Like, you can have a great offensive night and have a really bad plus minus still. However, if you're doing it on both ends, you're going to have it's going to show in the stats. It's going to show in the game lead. It's going to show in your plus minus, and it's going to show in the end win. If you're the best superstar player and you have a good night on both ends, the team is going to win. It's really hard for the team not to win. There's a lot of arguments right now. Cade LaMelo Ball with some Hornets fans and Pistons fans on the Twitter sphere. And the one thing a lot of people forget, yeah, LaMelo is this great offensive player, but when have you ever seen LaMelo consistently make defensive plays? I've never seen that. The Hornets aren't a good defensive team. They've never been a good defensive team with this current roster. And the Pistons are the opposite of that. Kay's a great offensive player, but he also brings a lot on the defensive end that is forgotten in the stat sheet sometimes. At least today, it actually shows up. Uh, and the thing is, Cade could have a lot more than 30 points. He only attempted, I think, 5 free throws. I mean, he made them all. But his whistle's still quite disrespectful. Almost the whole game, Cade Cunningham had a black eye because Jalen Suggs poked him in the eye really early on. Do you think Cade got a foul call on that? No, he didn't. Cade never got the foul. Later in the possession, I think there was a foul call on the Pistons when it should have been a foul on Suggs to Jalen on Cade Cunningham. The refs were terrible today. They were giving the Magic everything. They were trying to give the Magic the win, and they still lost by almost 20 points. There's a lot more good players today. Tobias Harris, he actively trash talked today. I don't know the last time I saw Tobias Harris chirping back at the other team. Tobias Harris is usually just he's either serious face or smiling when good things are happening. Not. He was scoring and he was trash talking him. He was pointing. He wanted a tech tonight. If I'm being honest, he didn't get it. He had 23 points. He had this dunk and he was pointing. He was flexing, and they had to call a timeout. He was chirping all the way back to the bench. That's what we like to see from a vet, especially on the Pistons. You don't see that from him. I love to see it. It was this intensity that I haven't seen from him in such a long time. Jalen Duren, he showed off a part of his game that's kind of hidden. It's this dribble drive against these less mobile centers. He hasn't been able to show it off so much because he's been playing against a lot more mobile centers. He's played against Sengun, he's pretty Mobley, played against Allen and Mobley. And it was just a lot harder to do. Today, he gets the backup center for the Magic, Goga Bitadiza, and he goes to work. I mean, Goga couldn't guard a traffic cone. Goga was the traffic cone, and Jalen Duren cooked him. He had 21 points, 12 rebounds, and it's just this game that Duren has that's kind of forgotten about. And even when uh, the Magic were helping Goga or Wendell Carter or whatever center was in, and they were collapsing on this Jalen Duren drive. Jalen Duren is a decent passer for a center, and he was able to get the corner kick out to you. It was like Tobias a couple times, Ron Holland, I think maybe Javante Green um, a couple times, and it really worked. It really helped the defense. It really helped the spacing just because of the center dribble drive that we really haven't been able to see yet, and we'll be able to see against these poor teams a lot of times and beating the teams that are worse than us that have we have the mismatches against is important because those are wins you need. Those wins add up, and especially when we're trying to be in this four plus seed spot, it's really important. Duncan Robinson easily had his best shooting night tonight. He was 4 for 6 from three, and I've been really negative on Duncan Robinson these first 4 games because the best game he had was 4 for 8. Every other game he's been bad. He hasn't been good. He's been forcing up shots, and even today to start the game, I was really disappointed. He missed I think his first one, and then he kind of he got scared to shoot, and that's really bad if Duncan Robinson gets scared or isn't pulling it like he should because that shows a lack of confidence and that gives defenders the know that hey, you're not confident to shoot. I can stag off you more than I would. Know that but now he's shooting again. He was making them tonight, so they couldn't do that. Duncan Robinson is this great off ball shooter like he should be and like he has shown tonight, and that's going to really help the offensive spacing, especially with the starting lineup, which has struggled so much shooting the ball, and it even did tonight, 1 for 10 start. I mean, Duncan Robinson wasn't good to start, but he got better throughout the game. Ron Holland, I'm calling him a right corner merchant, and that's a good thing. He made both his threes today from that right corner spot in the first half. He had one last game against the Cavs when we couldn't shoot. He made one three from the right corner, and he even had a wide open left one today, and he missed that, but he makes the right corner. So hey, if just put Ron Holland that right corner for when you want him to space the floor a little bit, and the defenses have to respect it because he's been knocking them down, and he was a pretty. He's always active on defense. He's always active on the driving front. But if he can even just at least have one side of the floor shooting wise, that's going to be really good to open up, especially with those best lineups. Now there was a little bit of bad tonight. The only person I'm going to call out is Karis LeVert. It was his first game back after missing the past 3 games due to injury, and it was bad. It wasn't good. He finished with 4 points. He was 1 for 5 from field, and that's one thing. But the really bad part was he was forcing bad shots. It was the end of the third quarter, and the Pistons had just gone on this big run to get a 10-point lead after being down 10 points earlier, and we could have easily ended the quarter up like 15, 17, but we weren't. We ended up the quarter around plus 10. And it was really because Karis LeVert was forcing these bad shots, and you just don't want to see that. He was on ball a lot in those minutes, and it just wasn't working out. So you really need to see him be this offensive threat that you know he can be. That he was with the Hawks last year. He's been with the Cavs, the Pacers, the Nets. He's always this offensive threat. But if he's forcing up bad shots, it's hard to give him the ball a lot and design a lot of plays and design a lot of on ball for him, which he's gotten a lot better at throughout his career. And so, yeah, I mean, the Pistons just played great tonight. And both ends are active. They were, uh, they were just really, really out hustling, uh, the Magic. So the reason like the Magic got out to a lead so early is because they couldn't make shots. The Magic are a very good defensive team, so Magic were able to get shots. They were push the floor. Well, the Pistons are finally able to make a couple shots in the second quarter. It's going to slow down the Magic offense a lot, and then the Pistons are finally able to get into the defensive sets, and then they were able to get defensive stops, and they were able to push the ball. And it's really just like defense has to come first with this team, because if our defense isn't working, our offense is going to slow down. It's going to get this full court offense, which we're really not the best at. We're best at this half court fast break offense that gets our drivers, because Asar is a driver. Cade can drive really well. He was tonight. Tobias can drive. Ron Holland. We don't really have the shooters like we did last year, and Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway who can just knock down threes whenever they feel like it. The guy who really is supposed to be like that for our team is Duncan, and he was tonight, but usually has not been so far. So just getting the defensive intensity up was really well. Um, and the thing was, Isaiah Stewart fouled out early on into the fourth quarter, and he didn't really play a lot because he was in foul trouble most of the night. And he's this big defensive piece, but they weren't. That didn't affect them. The defense still stayed intense. Durant had a very good defensive night. It helped that the offensive guys on the Magic, Goga and Wendell Carter for the centers aren't the best players. They're not the best centers. They're not the top 20 center offensively. So it definitely helped him on that defensive end. And another reason the Magic got out early, we had this defensive formation, defensive scheme that made us help on these Paulo ISOs. A lot of time, Paulo would get onto Tobias, Paulo would get onto Duncan Robinson, and it would cause another player like Cade or an Asar or Ron Howland to help guard Paulo. So Paulo would have two man, and then it would open three. We were getting cooked by Tristan da Silva. He was raining threes, and it's not like they were difficult threes; they were wide open. Ever on the court, he was there, just open because he was the guy who we had help off. Who our defender left, and he was open. And then in the third quarter, we switched that. We come out of halftime, and it's like, all right, that's not working. Either way, a two's more than a three, so let's just let Paulo make that. At least it will be slightly contested shot than the wide open three, and it worked. Paulo killed them. Paulo killed the Magic momentum. I mean, this is a big part of why Paulo's game is being uh, thought upon badly because he likes to play this ISO ball, and it can work sometimes. It works when you're helping, when the defenders help, but when the defenders know, oh, you're just going to ISO, you're just going to shoot no matter what, even if you're contested or not, well, then I'm just going to leave you single. I'm just going to leave Tobias Harris on you. I'm just going to leave Duncan Robinson. Even if they're the smaller mismatched defender, they can at least put some kind of effort up compared to a wide open three. And that happened, and then the Pistons go on the run, and that causes the Pistons to win the game. That simple defensive switch is the biggest reason probably for the constant the increase in defensive stops and the increase in offensive fast breaks and offensive possessions and easy points, and that's what led to the Pistons win. So next Pistons game is November 1st. It's in Mexico City. It is at 10 p.m., which is very late for a Pistons game, and it's against the Dallas Mavericks. With the first time facing the Mavs this season, Anthony Davis did go down today with injury, so he'll probably be questionable going into that, and that'll be a big storyline to keep up with if he's playing, if he's not. Mavericks have been interesting wise with the point guard rotation. So we want to see if D'Angelo Russell actually plays. He probably should. He's definitely their only actual true point guard they have. I have no idea why Jason Kidd wasn't playing him. So that's going to happen. Also for that game, I plan to release a Substack story. My Substack is linked into my description of my header on my YouTube channel. So please follow that if you would like to read a written preview and more in-depth analysis before the game. Thank you for watching.